Welcome and good evening. We are proud to introduce to you the first ever HAFA HFTM Alumni Association Virtual Fall Social. This year's networking event sure looks different than our usual downtown scene, but if there's anything we learned this year, it is to be flexible and to pivot. I don't know if I've ever used that word so much in my life before this year, but I'm getting used to it and I like it. What a great way to spend a Thursday evening with fellow alumni, students, faculty, and guests. Thursday nights sure have changed from our usual campus days, as I'm sure many of us would be in line for the keg right about now. So pull up a chair and get comfortable. And don't forget to grab a beverage. I mean, this is a hospitality event, so it wouldn't be a social without a drink in hand. Of course, this is water for me, so don't worry. Virtual cheers. Hosting a panel is a first for our association, so we hope you enjoyed today's discussion featuring this year's amazing 2020 Alumni Award winners. My name is Laura Bender, and I'm the president of the Alumni Association, HAFA grad 2001, and I will be your moderator today. I'm sure I've met many of you before, and if not, very nice to meet you or meet you. In our Zoom room today, we are happy to have alumni and friends from around the globe, something that's not usually possible to do with our in-person events. In fact, we've had registrations from all over Ontario, BC, Alberta, the US, and even the UK. The agenda for the evening includes introducing our award winners, who are also our industry panelists, and then a question and answer period that follows our theme for the evening: innovation, creativity, teamwork, and resiliency during the pandemic. Shortly after, we will be put into breakout rooms of around 5 people, where we will have 5 minutes to virtually mingle and network. We will then bring everyone back for a door prize, a group photo, and wrap up. So also please note that tonight's panel will be recorded for online purposes. And just as I mentioned, we will be taking a group photo and screenshots throughout to be used by the Alumni Association. If you prefer not to be on video, or maybe you're rocking the COVID cheek and don't want to be seen, no problem, just turn your camera off. Final housekeeping note, please feel free to use a live chat on the screen throughout the event. This is an interactive event, so this is where we welcome your questions to the panel, which we hope to get to if time permits. You may also see my timing mascot, Mr. Griffin. He's very good for stress. I thought he'd be better to use than my cowbell, maybe a little bit less distracting. So without further ado, let's begin. And at this point, if I could have the panelists' video turned on and everybody else's cameras turned off and microphones off except for the panelists, that would be great.
Hi, everyone.
Folks.
Welcome our panelists. We have Bob, Will, and Danielle, who you're seeing on the screen now. What an honor it is to present our awards this year to 3 inspirational, well-deserved award winners. First, we would like to introduce Bob Desautels, winner of our prestigious George D. Bedell Alumni Award. Bob has had a purposeful and dynamic career, including golf course management, environmental activism, and a professorship in the creation of his own restaurant company in 1991, the Neighborhood Group. He has always been a committed advocate for developing a strong sense of community, promoting diversification of local economies, and encouraging environmentally sound business practices. Bob is also an accomplished author and is focusing on his writing career. Congratulations, Bob. Would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, I'm very honored to receive this award, especially since I knew George Bedell quite well when I was 3rd graduating class, and I did spend a little time in his office giving him a few suggestions about the program, which weren't always well received. But he was a very determined man and quite a visionary for starting up a school in Canada with a Bachelor of Commerce program. He was a nice guy overall. So I'm glad to get an award with his name on it.
That's great. Well, congratulations again. Very well deserved.
Thank you.
And just a side note for everybody listening in, we have full biographies on our website of all of our award winners, so please feel free to check out the website after the event. So I'd like to now introduce Will Leung, winner of the Leadership Entrepreneurial Alumni Award. Will is a passionate individual who thrives on challenges, education, and growing future leaders. After graduation from the University of Guelph, Will moved to Vancouver and joined the Cactus leadership team. With his experience of running flagship stores and opening new builds, Chef Will moved back to Toronto in 2014 to open and operate new locations in the Ontario market. His greatest achievements include opening 8 restaurants across Canada and promoting 9 chefs in the organization. Congratulations, Will. Would you like to say words?
Sure. Thanks, Laura. Hi, everyone. It's good to see everyone. I know this is a lot different than normal, but Val Al there, who I know from way back in the day, and I expect nothing less than a 9-ounce pour of vino sitting at her table, which is great to see. I definitely want to thank the other winners as well too. You know, Bob, I'm looking forward for you to take me out to some golf lessons, and then Danielle, if you ever want a part-time job, you know, I could definitely use some good cooks. But I feel very honored and humbled to be here today, so thanks for having me.
Great. Well, thank you, Will. And so finally, please let me introduce to you Danielle Gaudet, our Leader of Tomorrow Alumni Award winner. Danielle's journey through the hospitality industry began in F&B operations in Montreal 2005, followed by graduating from the School of Hotel and Food Administration in 2008. It was at several HAFA alumni nights that she met key hospitality professionals that helped her gain a business and secure in the industry she coveted to join. Congratulations, Danielle. Would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much to the Alumni Association. It feels really great to be honored by my alma mater, and a place where it really helped to hone my love of the hospitality industry and got me to where I am today. So it's a great honor also to be among these 2 other award winners. Congratulations, gentlemen, as well. And also want to shout out, I'm not sure if he's on the call, but my buddy Kenny nominated me and helped to push this through to the award finish line. Look at this massive thing. It's so shiny and glorious. So I have to thank him as well, but thanks so much.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Yes, if all of you want to hold up your awards, let everybody get a nice look of our beautiful alumni awards. Congratulations again to our 2020 Alumni Award recipients. And said, all of the biographies are on our website, so please check that out after the event. So, to keep things rolling, we will now begin our panel discussion. Our board came up with 3 current questions for our panel to discuss this evening. So if our panelists are ready, we will start with the first question. How have you observed innovation, teamwork, and resilience in your company or from your colleagues that has helped to navigate, adapt, and pivot, there's that word, during COVID-19? Bob, would you like to start us off?
Sure. Well, the first thing we did, we have 5 restaurants in our group at this point, and we realized in early March that we'd be laying off 150 employees. So our first focus, thanks to my executive team led by my son, Court Desautels, we decided to develop a fund for employees. And the method for raising the money was we sold gift certificates online, and we donated 100% of all those proceeds to this fund. And we set up a $40,000 fund in the end. And all employees were encouraged to write in, make an application if they needed money for rent or for car payments or you know, if they had some serious debts. And we had a committee that would analyze each application, and we gave out all the money by June, because we thought that was our probably most important resource is the people in your company. And we knew a lot of them lived paycheck to paycheck. We knew a lot of them were going to be in trouble with rent coming due at the end of the month and that sort of thing. So I was really proud of my executive team because it was their idea. I had nothing to do with it. I was in Provence at the time, and I was made aware of this initiative and approved it 100%. Yeah. The other thing I learned from this disaster is that the stars in the company stepped up because everyone had to pivot to different types of jobs to get us through. You know, we had to have managers working a lot more on the floor and pitching in. And what I really noticed was our really strong stars and winners in the company. They volunteered to do these different jobs. There's an old biblical term used: separate the wheat from the chaff, and that's one thing that is the people that were more resilient and didn't panic during a pandemic. They stepped forward. They stayed calm, and they kept the company going right through to the summer months when we could open up patios and start getting revenue moving in a different direction. That was the main thing I learned from all this.
Great. Well, thank you very much. Will, would you like to?
Yeah, I think the first thing that I think about is when the pandemic hit. I think it surprised everybody, and you kind of realize that not only hospitality, but everyone in the world is kind of dealing with trying to figure out different approaches and trying different methods to survive. I think the first thing for us, opposed to people that know our background, is obviously we're a growth company. We grow fairly fast, and we're a casual fine dining restaurant. And some of my locations, for example, downtown Toronto, went from 350,000 a week to 17,000 a week. And that's when we just started doing delivery to go. So I think the first thing that we really adopted was takeout and delivery. Like, that was probably the thing that we thought could get us back on the feet the fastest. And we decided to do it right away. I know a lot of restaurants were thinking, should we do it or should we not? And at that point, to us, it's prototype versus perfection. It's not about being the best at it right away, but let's just get it out and start making some revenue. And it's the same thing along as Bob says, people are our number one asset. And I remember when they ordered us to shut down, the first thing everyone thought is, are we going to lose our jobs? And so collectively with the executive team, we decided, okay, we're all going to take pay cuts. So then we could pay all our middle and lower level managers their full pay during this entire time. So we won't have to let people go. Just knowing for the fact that if we're a growth company, we did continue to build that pipeline for the future. And then the other thing was also, we're receiving less tips, because when you go from all service and then you go straight into to go, there's no more tips. So we also decided to making sure that all our staff would receive the same amount of payment as they received pre-COVID. So we just did top paid extra money to all our staff to making sure that they're getting enough money to be able to survive. So there'll be less people that would have to go on CERB or EI. And I think during that time, kind of like everyone talked about, pivot, adapt, we use that terminology called Kaizen, which is continuous improvement. And we actually saw our to-go sales go from 17K up to 100K within like a 2 to 3 week span. And we even had some restaurants outperforming last year's sales just in to-go sales. And this is just revolutionizing our to-go model and trying to figure out how we could be better at it. Just optimizing the way we package, the way we delivered food, looking at costing and what we could do for healthcare workers. So it's a quick change, and we use terminology kind of called fail fast approach. And that's just, let's just get out there, see what we can do. We have a smart people, and we can figure it out as we go along. We're going to take really quickly and then adapt and move on. And I think the part that makes it difficult with the team is the communication aspect. So we really learned how to use a virtual platform such as what we're using right now. And when you talk about a company of 700 people, and get the messages across with all government regulations and everything that's changing day by day, can be difficult. So that was definitely a big learning curve for us.
Oh, excellent. Danielle.
Yeah, I mean, in the last 6 months, I've seen and have observed and been a part of some really awesome and productive and really human conversations in the exhibitions world. This industry in Toronto is very tight-knit. In Canada, it's very tight-knit. So we're used to chatting and sharing and really collaborating, even if it's not my event that I'm working on. There's a lot of info share going on, but this really bumped it up to the next level because we were all, as Bob and Will said, you know, we're facing something that we've never faced before. So all information and input welcome. And whether that was just sort of ad hoc conversations with suppliers that I don't normally work with, but you know, wanted some advice, or whether it was one of my colleagues from the industry setting up a free event for industry professionals to just chat and talk about best practices and where are you at and what's your province doing. That's been really amazing to see, and it's keeping on going because you know, we're not out of it yet. When it comes to my team, you know, Will mentioned smart people and communication, and that's exactly what we've had to do since March. The PDAC annual convention, last big events to happen in the city of Toronto before lockdown. So we were fortunate enough that event undeveloped, that the planning didn't stop. We actually have been working on 2021 since then, and planning for 4 possible scenarios where the information keeps changing. I'm happy to report that we helped our board of directors reach a decision where we're going to be completely virtual in 2021. So that is something brand new for me. I'm used to in-person events, but the communication, the collaboration that went into the scenario planning that's going into the planning now is quite remarkable. And, you know, it's been very emotional at certain times and very exhausting at certain times, but, you know, we have the right people on the bus, so to speak. We have smart, competent people, and it really makes a difference planning in such an uncertain environment.
Wow.
I think just to add to that, I think you made a very good point, but I think with this whole thing, with everything that we're going through, you know, as a growing company, we're always trying to build people in the pipeline. They're all talking about development and leadership growth. And I think just going through something like the pandemic itself is a learning process, right? I honestly, truly believe, kind of like what Bob said, that all the top people will shine, and those people are actually, you know, going through this process is going to learn a lot about it, because it's not hard to run a restaurant or a business and there's great sales and great profit. It's the fact that when you don't have those sales and you need to figure out how to control your costs and build profit, which makes it difficult. So.
All right. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and your different strategies. You've given us a lot to think about on the subject. So thank you very much. So we will move on. And I did notice there's been some good chat in the chat there. So we'll have to make sure you check that out before we end today. So moving on to a second question. What is the biggest change you expect to see in 2021 in your role or field? And what impact will these changes have on the industry in the longer term? So this time we will start with Will.
Okay, thanks, Laura. Well, I could tell you what I won't be doing, which is we'll be opening new restaurants. We actually had 4 restaurants lined up, and they kind of been all put on pause because it doesn't make sense to open those. So I'm honestly going to say this is going to be very difficult for me, because I've been in this company for 16 years, and we only had 1 year other than this one where we have an increase in sales or an increase in growth where we're building restaurants. So instead, I think we're trying to shift our focus, where instead of being a growth company, we're looking at how are we going to outlast the competition kind of company. It's a balance of like, what are we doing to prepare for the future, and what are we actually focusing on right now to stay sustainable and to be able to maintain a longevity in the long run. So a lot of it involves, I think that's going to happen in 2021 for my role, is for me and my team to kind of try to figure out what innovations that we need to come up with to kind of stay competitive, and seeing the shift in the market from dine-in restaurants to probably quick service and things like that may also change. So I think there's a lot of things that are going to be changing in terms of what my job role is going to be. But I think one thing that's going to be needed more than ever is obviously the leadership. And I think Al kind of mentioned over here, communication is key. And then one thing I really learned throughout this process is, having great leadership is important, but a lot of it's about communication and containment, because there's a lot of things that have been going on just based on pandemic, social injustices, and things that are coming up. And as leaders, we need to learn how to rally the troops and collaborate and learn how to stick together and get through these situations. When I talk about the field and what I think it's going to happen in 2021, I know I saw some recent stats, and they say about 50 to 80% drop in sales year on year for most restaurants. And there could be potential that like almost 50% of restaurants close. So I think a couple of things that may happen from that is, one, if you look at the market in the short term, it may be competitive because a lot of people out there are going to be looking for jobs. So there may be an opportunity to hire more A players during that time. Secondly, I think one thing I've learned from the 2008 recession is the real estate market. So companies such as ourselves, we're a growing company and we want to continue to grow. And this is when we get the best deals. If I look at 2009, I remember we actually got 4 or 5 different locations locked in at a really good price at 2008. And then we actually increased our sales 3 times in the next 5 years. So there could be good that comes out of it. But it's kind of that mentality: the richer gets rich and the poor gets poor, because it's difficult for some of the restaurants to survive. I also believe that consumer behavior will change. I think money is going to be tight for a lot of people, and people are going to value the dollar a lot more. So they'll have more expectations in terms of service, atmosphere, and quality of food. Also believe that operationally we may have to change. You've seen it now that, from different technology innovations to contactless payments. I believe the model of quick service food and to-go and delivery is going to be huge. We've even talked about doing ghost kitchens, which is basically just setting up a kitchen to sell to-go food, just to be delivered in certain areas. You've seen it already, like you've seen Starbucks actually close a bunch of, like, hundreds of their restaurants or their cafes to make smaller footprints and just focus on pickup. So I could definitely see, hospitality maybe going towards that route right now, as it's just so uncertain for 2021. So.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Danielle.
Yeah, what comes to mind of what's going to be a big challenge in the exhibitions and just the events world in general is just wrapping our heads around what it means to be social and what it means for togetherness. As event producers, those two concepts are the lifeblood of what we do. We get people together. We want them to be social. It's also a basic human need. In the before times is what we call, I call, and I think a lot of folks do, before lockdown. In the before times, something social was, I'll meet you at a restaurant that's halfway between your work and my work, and it also needs to be close to transit, and we'll have a pint. Nowadays, it could be exactly what we're doing here. I mean, this is called a social, this is a technology that we're using to be social. It's very different, but we've done this kind of, I'm not going to say pivot, but we've done this kind of shift before with social media platforms like before and after. So it is possible. We just need to wrap our heads around it. And then when it comes to togetherness, in the before times, togetherness could have been, you go to see your favorite Broadway show, and during intermission, you're talking with a stranger beside you about this amazing shared experience that you're having. And Act One was so amazing. And wasn't that the saddest ballad that you've ever heard? Now, togetherness could be you're driving to a drive-in with somebody in your social bubble, you're in a car, you're watching a film, and before that there's an introduction with a director that has been recorded 3 weeks prior, and honking is the new clapping. So, as event producers who gather people together, these are just concepts and different definitions that we're going to have to wrap our heads around. And how do we execute that within an event and in this current landscape? And is it technology? Is it, something else that helps to execute these things? And it's not insurmountable. Like I said, we've done this before. We're resilient people, and the a basic human need is to be social, so that will always be there. It's just, how do we do it now? And to really embrace the change, and to be as creative and as innovative as possible in the given circumstances, of course.
Excellent. Bob, would you like to?
I agree with the point that Danielle's making. We are social beings. And for restaurants, especially the style of my restaurants, the big attraction is the intermingling and people coming, regulars, knowing that when they arrive that the bartender knows exactly what they want as a drink. And I think a lot of people are going to be gun shy after going through these months of the pandemic. And it's going to be take a long time for people to be comfortable even shaking hands. I know some people stopped shaking hands a few years ago just to avoid getting the flu in the winter. You know, and I think a lot of people are going to be paranoid. I see a lot of hysteria during this whole period, which is, you know, you pass somebody on a sidewalk, you're both wearing a mask, and they step 10 feet away as if there's any chance there would ever be any transmission. I don't know how much of that sort of people are gun shy about intermingling, and I don't know how much of that if there's going to be a big residue of that type of behavior, because it's going to make the restaurant industry that much more difficult to get back up to normal revenue levels, and it's just the tough part's going to be defining what that new normal is. I'm older than the other two recipients, and I'm not comfortable with. I travel a lot, and I FaceTime with my children and my grandchildren, and I find it a very empty experience. I'm more of a tactile person. I like to meet people. I like to talk to them. I'm uncomfortable with emails because I never know what the intonation is of somebody sending that email. I can never 100% understand their message. And so I think just defining this new normal is going to be a huge challenge.
That's right. Definitely different times, you know. I don't know if everybody else, I mean, myself, I have a nice top on, but we don't know what everybody's wearing on the bottom at this moment. So wearing pants.
I'm wearing shorts for sure.
Wearing pants in the future.
You said you'd do it, and you did it.
You did it. That's so good.
Yeah, these prisons are, I think we called them pants in the before times. Yeah, they're pretty brutal, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, great. These are wonderful comments and foresight. So thank you. Great answers to that question. We'll move on to the third. So what advice do you have for alumni on how to be resilient in the face of the current state of uncertainty? Danielle, would you like to start?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. What immediately comes to mind for this question has to do with really mental health and taking care of that brain of yours. You know, in the last 6 months, and you know, even in your lives before that, there's a lot of information coming at us, and some of it is important, some of it isn't, some of it is real, some of it is not real. And I don't think we can talk about being resilient and trying to get through this and having the wherewithal to get through this without talking about making sure your mental health is okay. And so for me, what that entails is making sure that I take breaks from the screen and take breaks from the news and social media and things like that. And if I am looking at that kind of stuff, really making sure that I'm limiting it. I'm also being careful of what I'm reading, what I'm seeing, making sure I'm fact checking, making sure it's something really important to me, and just having a broader understanding of what's going on in the world and how it affects my world and how I affect this world. So I think really looking at the consumption of news is going to be really important. for now and for the future. And I think that's also regardless of pandemic. I think this crisis has uncovered a lot of different things going on in the world, and certainly folks' mental health is something that among a lot of key issues that are going on has been something that people are really focusing on. I have also rediscovered my love of Lego through this. I call it adult Lego. It's like really a little bit more complicated sets to build. And I find, it sounds silly, but I really find that injecting a sense of play into the day really helps me take my mind off of what's going on at work. Just provides a fun distraction. So I recommend Lego. I'm not paid by them, but I do recommend a good Lego set. And so these things and other things that I do, I find helps me stay alert, stay focused on what's important, what needs to be done, what I can do, and ultimately helps me be a better support to my team at work. It helps me be a better family member and a better partner as well.
Excellent. Bob, would you like to add?
Well, I think it's important in these times of crisis not to panic and don't forget your personal goals. Don't compromise on it. And for your business, I recommend stick to the knitting. Whatever you're good at, make sure you keep reinforcing that. And don't, Stephen Covey was the one that said that. Stick to what you're really good at and don't compromise. And don't compromise on your goals just because the world's going crazy. Pretty simple.
Will.
I don't know. I think everyone's kind of said a couple of different things, and I think it just keeps bringing me back to this fail fast approach. I think it's important for alumni people to know that, right now we're all going through and making decisions of things that we never experienced. As a leader, it's like, I haven't gone through a pandemic before. I haven't gone through this. So I'm trying to figure out the best solutions as I can. And I think that's my message, just be part of the solution. You could be that, I want people to make sure they're part of the decision-making process, because collaboration is key during this point in time. We need everyone's experience to rally together to try to figure things out. And are you going to be one of those people who are being told what to do? Or are you going to be one of those people that's involved in the process of becoming successful or getting through this? And when I talk about that fail fast, I call it fail fast smart. So, that's that prototype thing where just try different things to see what works. And the fast part is if it doesn't work, then change it immediately. That takes a lot of intense focus, but it's super important to recognize when things aren't working and then moving on. And the smart part is to learn from your mistakes. I think I have a quote here. It's fail often to succeed sooner. And I think if you look at, if anyone knows who Nolan Ryan is, he's a Major League Baseball player, and he has the records and the amount of strikes. And a lot of people don't realize that he also has a record for the amount of balls that were thrown, which kind of gets to me the same point where it's you're going to make mistakes, you're going to fail, but then that sometimes are going to help you lead to the right decision or to the right path to make the right decision. So my advice for the alumni is just making sure that you be involved and be part of the solution. Be empowered to try to help the team get through this. Don't always wait for the answer, because sometimes I don't know what the answer is.
Great. Well, thank you all for your honesty and your guidance and your thoughts on that question. We actually have some time, unless you have anything else to add on any of those questions as a panel. We have time to go to our question that's in, I believe we have one question in the live chat. I will ask Elizabeth, our Alumni Advancement Officer. There she is. Do we have a question from the live chat?
Yes. Hi, everyone. We have a couple of great questions. Perhaps we'll start off with a question for all the panelists. What are you doing in your companies or in your families to maintain and build culture? And what does that look like? Is that a focused effort or activity during your day or during your week? How are you building that culture that we're speaking of today? Resilience, innovation, creativity. Yeah.
I could go first. I'll admit that it's quite. I'm used to being in a work environment. I have never worked remotely before, only the odd day here in office. I've also, until recently, I've worked in a venue, so there's always something going on. And so to not be in and amongst the humans and things always happening was definitely a culture shock to me. And even in my current job where it's more of an office setting, we would, and it's about 10 that we would have little interactions with each other and sort of rants throughout the day of, you wouldn't believe what this person said, or can you help me with this, and those kinds of things. So it's been, in the beginning, it was difficult to replicate that because there's not that same spontaneity, and there's certainly not the physicality of just sort of knocking on somebody's door. But what we've done is we've always had like a chat group with the 10 of us, because there are a couple of my team members who work remotely. So that's how we've stayed in touch, even in our offices. And now we really, and almost hourly, rely on that for quick messages, quick announcements, and just making that connection, not only for the projects that we're working on, but just to chat, because that was part of the culture in the office in the before times. And so we really have tried to continue that on through technology. We also, and this works for my team, but every couple of weeks we have sort of a little social hour at like the 3:30, 4 o'clock mark. Hospitality industry, of course, love a glass of wine when we can, or your non-alcoholic beverage. So we've weaved those kinds of situations into our weeks, and we hardly talk about work. It's more social if folks want to. So that's helped to sort of carry the culture through when it comes to work.
All right, thank you. Bob or Will, we have 2 more minutes. There was another question, but if either of you would like to chime in, please do so.
Well, in my company, we hold a daily huddle among the executive team. So I like it because it gives a sense of routine. It's always at 1 o'clock. And on a personal level, our family, I have 2 children and 3 grandchildren. We've set a new tradition of having Sunday night dinners. And it's sort of been able to, so it's a nice glue for family life. And we all look forward to it. We do it at different house each time. And it's added a lot of stability, a lot of fun into our family life.
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. Will, if you have a quick answer, and then we can get one more question in before we move on.
I think Val kind of asked the question about like, what are we doing to kind of stay positive? I think for myself, it is like kind of what people said, is trying to find that balance between work and real life. At the end of the day, family, friends are super important. And as for you, those don't know, I just had a kid. So that's why I kind of in like this little baby office room. So that brings a lot of joy in my life. And it kind of grounds me and realize, it's not, my work is important, but, being with my family and being with my friends is just as important. So I was trying to find that balance when I have my days off, or I could like disconnect or unhook from my work, spend quality time. And the best way to do that is always try to schedule things in. Put in the calendar, schedule it in, scheduling a morning run to scheduling playtime with my son, date nights with my wife, putting those in the calendar and don't let anything come in between. And an example here, it's like my phone's blowing up right now because my executives want to call me about the health inspection. But I'm saying, okay, I'm just going to wait. I'll wait till 7:30 until we're done this, to making sure that I get some FaceTime with past alumni.
Great. Yes, I think that was the second question. So I guess if our panelists are happy with the answers, or I think we do need to move on, but if Bob or Danielle had a couple of seconds to answer, go ahead. If not, we'll move on. I
think family key, or your whatever family you have chosen or whatnot, key, your network of folks. Outdoors time also has really helped me in the culture sort of aspect, and also staying positive, and cooking some good foods. Yeah, tried a lot of good recipes, as many people have perhaps, but yeah, that's brought a lot of joy.
Oh, good. And Bob, anything to add before we finish the panel?
Not really. I'd say it's been important for me to stay positive, and like Danielle, I love cooking, and I've been much more indulgent with my alcohol consumption and my food since this all started. Excuse me. But I think it's helped my mental health. Plus I write essays all the time on developing contentment in your life. So I'm always researching, great philosophers and psychologists and what they recommend to do on a daily basis. And I'm getting into yoga a little bit too. So that helps.
Yeah, I definitely be taking some notes from the three of you. Well, thank you very much. This does conclude the panel portion of the evening. So thank you very much, panelists. And again, congratulations on your awards. I found this panel very informative and insightful, and I pulled a lot of points out of it, as I'm sure many of the alumni and friends that we have on the line right now. So now we'll move on to the second half of our virtual fall social with our breakout sessions. So in a few moments, Elizabeth will be randomly launching us into cyberspace, and we'll be put into breakout rooms. We don't know with who, but we will see everybody there. The idea is for everyone to take a turn introducing themselves, just like speed networking style, letting everyone know who you are, what you do, and perhaps what your company or yourself have dealt with the quickly changing industry yourself. And or you could even reminisce about University of Guelph and the good old school days, or even your favorite quarantine food and activities. Why not? So the breakout is around 10 minutes. We are running a little bit over, so we might shorten that. But what we'll do is you will see a little timer in the top of your screen. When you get close to the ending, to the time, then you will be asked to leave the room and go back into the main. Please remember to keep your camera on, and yeah. So if you're comfortable without a screen, no problem, like I said. And so Elizabeth, if you can go ahead and zoom us into our rooms, we'll see everybody here shortly. All right, well, welcome back. I'm glad that worked. Yay, technology. I hope everybody had a great time catching up and making new connections in our breakout session. So if you are interested in sharing your contact information with everyone for follow-up after this event, please feel free to put it in the live chat. As you know, in our industry and in the association, our industry thrives on relationship building and networking. So don't let the connections end after this event. And don't forget, there's always LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. So please follow and like and keep in touch. And stay tuned for our virtual career networking night in January 2021. We do not have the dates yet, but just stay tuned, and we'll definitely see you guys there. So at this time, if everyone, make sure everybody has their cameras turned on, we'd like to take a group photo, and then we will do our door prize. So if Lisa is ready, it will be our screenshot photographer of the evening. On the count of three, for a few seconds so we can get a nice shot. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Can I move now? Okay, I'm moving. Hopefully you got it, Lisa. Okay, good. That was a little awkward, but we did it. It will pay off in the end. So now the moment we've all been waiting for, the door prize. We will actually be giving away a $200 gift certificate to the Cactus Club restaurant Thank you, Cactus Club, for their donation. So we have everybody's name in a virtual bag, and I am virtually pulling out the winner.
What happens if I win it?
As in, I need to check my cell phone and see who our winner is. I don't have a winner yet. Rachel, who is our winner? Or did we have that?
I sent it in the chat.
Okay, sorry.
I'll go find it. I'll go find it. Just a sec. Technology.
Okay, well, I will continue until we have a name. So hold tight, everyone. Oh, here we are. Kathleen Sheffield is our winner. Yay! So we will be sure to mail that out. Just please contact us with your address and we'll send that to you. So the good news is we do have a second door prize, okay? The only thing is that you need to fill out the survey after the event to be entered to win. So we will be giving away an official U of G hoodie when you complete the survey that you'll receive by email after this event. Elizabeth is also placing the link in the live chat, and we definitely appreciate your comments and value your feedback, of course, for future events, in person, online, cyberspace, who knows, but we will definitely take your thoughts into consideration. So to conclude, I would like to ask our panelists, do you have any final words? Well, if anybody would like to add anything, we'll start with Bob. Bob, are you there?
Bob, I think you're on mute.
Oh, Bob's on mute. All right, well, Bob is demuting. Will, would you like to say a few words?
Sure. I mean, thanks for everyone coming out to this e-virtual. It's the first time for myself. I hope everyone's staying safe with their family and friends. I look forward to when we'll be able to actually do this in person and be able to connect at some restaurant downtown and have a drink together. Feel free to come by anytime. I'll be downtown working probably quite aggressively even next little bit, trying to figure out how to get through this. And I think my word of advice I like to tell people is just, you know, don't be afraid to take some risks. You know, I think it's important that you go out there, try new things, try different initiatives, and those are the ways that you can discover your new talents. So stay strong out there, enjoy yourself. I'm gonna try to find my son so you can see this cute little kid.
Is your video on, or am I not seeing it? Maybe. All right. Okay, Danielle, a few words, and then we'll go to Bob after.
Yeah, just like Will said, thanks so much for everyone tuning in today. It was great to be a part of this event. In a couple of months, I'm going to be on the other side, on the organizing side, like the Alumni Association is right now. So this is a great starter for me in the whole virtual events world. We will get back to in-person events and shaking hands if you like, and having beverages together if you do so desire. So we all wait with bated breath for that. And then just advice, you know, quite simply, be kind, laugh when you can, and do the next right thing.
Bob, I see your screen. I don't know if I see you, but I do see your screen if you're there. If not, I will continue with a few more words and we'll wait for Bob to come back if he wants to give a final word. So again, I just want, on behalf of the Board of Directors and the Alumni Association, we'd definitely like to give a virtual round of applause to the panelists, and thank you very much for tonight. And actually the board, if you can, whoever's on the board, we'd like to raise your hands. That's your Board of Directors on the screen there. And thank you very much, everyone, for participating tonight. We definitely appreciate you investing your time with us, and we hope you got a lot out of it. So I'll give Bob one more call out. Bob, are you there? Okay, I don't know if Bob's there anymore, but we will conclude the evening. And this is amazing, but it's only 7:01 p.m. How often do events actually end on time? I think that's pretty cool. So I would like to, with everybody, raise a glass. Cheers. Cheers to the hospitality industry, to U of G alumni, and to health and happiness as we continue to not only survive, but thrive through this pandemic. And there's Bob. And Bob, did you want to say a few words? I'm just finishing a cheers here. Before we go, you can
I
say the
think-
final word. How about that?
Well, all the best to everyone through the rest of 2020, and hopefully this pandemic becomes a distant memory within the next 2 or 3 years.
Yep. Agreed. And thank you again. And we will see you in January. Take care, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming out.
Bye. Thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
Take care.